let's talk about... Can't shut him down. Lee Anderson. Could be heading for a reform. The Nigel Farage, who is not leader of reform, is entices. Yep. Anyway, Farage is apparently suggesting that that he go across to reform. Do you think we'll see a lot? Because a lot of Tory MPs are looking to step down. Not that they'll have much choice, but anyway, looking to step down. Do you think we'll see Reform become a proper party?
I mean, I think they're polling at the moment somewhere in the kind of 10 to 15% of range, which shows that there is a view out there that there is a need for a party. I think Richard Tice, who's leading on Reform, has done a good job of getting out on television and talking about the business, economy, the markets. He's someone who wants lower taxation, more investment in business, which is an old school conservatism that's been a little bit lost in the last 5 or 6 years. We've not heard this kind of pro-business talk for a while. And look, if 1 in 10 or sort of 2 in 10 people want to support that, and that's what the appetite seems to be, then if they're able to get representation in the House of Parliament, then they'll be able to do that. At the same time, it's sort of 8 in 10 people probably not going to be that swayed by that group, but they shouldn't be stopped from trying.
But do you think, like they always say, there's the silent Tory voter that only sneaks out during the election, ticks that box? Are there silent Reform voters? Because I think since the days of Brexit and before that, UKIP and all of that, there is a rising tension with, as we just heard there, with unfettered immigration, with the numbers which we keep being promised will be in the tens of thousands. Absolutely will never happen. You know, the boats that are coming across, you know, which is the smallest actually concern in terms of immigration. But people have had enough, and this is why we're seeing across Europe and across the world more of a lean towards the right. I'm not going to say right wing, but certainly more of a leaning towards right-leaning policies, and we will see more and more of that.
Yeah, the history across time and also across Europe and the world at the moment is that when you have a constrained economy, people tend to want to preserve resources more, and one of the ways of doing that is saying, well, we're not going to have more people than we already have.
Well, it's also the blame, isn't it?
Yes.
Saying the reason we haven't got any money is because of them. It was very well employed in Nazi Germany. The reason we haven't got any money is because the Jews have got it. Here, it's the reason we haven't got any houses is because the immigrants have got it. Yeah. And so it's the government want us to blame them, because then we don't blame the government.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of classic populist way of doing it. It's very, very negative, and it can lead to the sort of conflicts and arguments and hatred and death threats that we're seeing right now. It's not to be encouraged in the slightest. I also think, though, that there is an argument that's a reasonable political argument. It may not be one I would make, but there are people who will say when there are constrained resources, we should limit the population growth, or we should only have certain types of population growth that we feel confident will help our economy, and therefore we put the walls up and we don't allow immigration. And that's where I think Richard Tice is coming from. The downside of that approach is, well, what do you do about the fact that we have a really small working population in the UK compared to the very large and going to increase older population and a very low birth rate at the moment. So we're not going to see huge swathes of people in 20 years' time coming into the workforce because, in fact, there's not many children. So you may want to solve this by not having immigration, but you're going to have to come up with a really good plan. He's saying he's going to do it by cutting taxes, by being pro-business. But the last time a Prime Minister, which was Liz Truss, went down that route, the markets absolutely punished us as a country and we got massive inflation. So I think it's fair enough if he wants to go out on TV, if he can get people to vote for him. That is democracy. Whether I like it or not, he gets to have that debate. But we don't really have good evidence that it's going to work. And I think maybe it's going to push Labour a little bit to have to say what they think. And if they are going to allow more immigration, or if they are saying they're also going to withhold, not have as much immigration, what's their plan? How are they going to stimulate the economy? Because we do have to work out what we do about the fact we're going to have many older people and many fewer younger people.